Most people think inheriting an IRA is simple. You receive the account, you invest it conservatively, you take money out when you need it. But here's the part almost no one is warned about. Inherited IRAs now come with a hidden tax trap that can quietly cost family tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the worst part is, most people don't realize they've fallen into the trap until years later, when the tax bill shows up and the planning options are already gone. I've seen responsible, financially savvy retirees inherit IRAs with good intentions, only to discover that the way they were forced to withdraw the money created unnecessary tax pressure, higher Medicare premiums, and long-term regret. Not because they made reckless decisions, but because no one explained how the rules actually work now. So today, let's walk through the hidden tax trap in inherited IRAs, why so many people get caught by it, and how to think about these accounts before the damage is done. Hi, I'm Scott O'Connell with Tactical Investment Advisors, and today I'm breaking down the biggest tax trap I see with inherited IRAs and why understanding these rules early can make a meaningful difference in how much of that inheritance your family actually keeps. If you find this helpful, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps more people find these educational videos. First, why inherited IRAs changed and most people didn't notice. For years, inherited IRAs followed a relatively predictable set of rules. Beneficiaries could stretch withdrawals over their lifetime, they could take small required amounts each year, and they could spread taxes gradually. That structure helped keep inherited income manageable. But the federal government needs money, so these rules changed. Today, many non-spouse beneficiaries are required to empty inherited IRAs within a fixed time window, depending on the situation, regardless of whether they need the money. So inherited IRAs must often be fully distributed within 10 years, and withdrawals are often taxable as ordinary income, depending on the type of IRA and the beneficiary's situation. Now, timing matters more than ever. This shift is where the trap begins, because while the account value didn't change, the tax exposure did. Next, the trap isn't the rule, it's the timing. Here's the part most people misunderstand. The problem isn't that you have to withdraw the money. The problem is when those withdrawals hit your tax return. Many beneficiaries are still working. Many beneficiaries are in their peak earning years, and many already have high taxable income. Layering inherited IRA withdrawals on top of wages, bonuses, or business income can push people into much higher tax brackets. And once that income is reported, it affects more than just federal taxes. Next, how the inherited IRA tax trap actually shows up. This trap rarely feels obvious at first. It usually shows up gradually. A beneficiary inherits an IRA, they delay withdrawals, thinking they're being tax efficient, and a few years later, they're forced to take larger distributions. So suddenly, income spikes, taxes jump, Medicare premiums can increase later due to income-based surcharges, IRMAA, and planning flexibility disappears. Also, there's income stacking and higher marginal tax rates, long-term ripple effects. So the mistake wasn't inheriting the IRA. The mistake was letting the rules dictate the strategy. Next, why waiting until the end often backfires. Many people assume the smartest move is to wait and let the account grow. After all, tax-deferred growth feels beneficial. But with inherited IRAs, waiting can actually magnify the tax problem. Here's why. If withdrawals are delayed, the account may grow larger, required distributions later become bigger, income gets compressed into fewer years. So that compression often forces withdrawals at the worst possible time, which is when tax brackets are already high. This is where people realize too late that tax deferral isn't the same thing as tax efficiency. Next, how inherited IRAs affect Medicare and other costs. This tax trap doesn't stop at income taxes. Large inherited IRA withdrawals can also increase Medicare premiums later, trigger income-based surcharges, and affect other tax-sensitive benefits. Many retirees are shocked to learn that an inheritance that they didn't spend still increased their healthcare costs years later. This is why inherited IRAs need to be planned for, not just invested. Why this tax trap hits responsible people the hardest? Ironically, this trap often hits responsible planners the hardest. People who avoid unnecessary withdrawals, let accounts grow, and assume deferral is always good. Those habits work well in accumulation, but inherited IRAs follow a different logic. The rules now reward intentional income planning, not passive waiting. This is where the old playbook breaks down. Next, there are no one-size-fits-all solutions. Some beneficiaries should spread the withdrawals evenly. Some beneficiaries should coordinate distributions with lower income years. Some should integrate inherited IRA income with retirement timing. Others may need a very different approach. The right strategy depends on current income levels, future earning expectations, filing status, healthcare considerations, and other assets and tax exposure. This is why inherited IRA planning shouldn't be handled in isolation. Next, biggest missed opportunity, coordination. One thing most people don't realize is that inherited IRAs are not just tax problems, they're planning opportunities if handled correctly. Coordinating withdrawals with retirement timing, with Social Security decisions, and with other income sources can materially reduce the lifetime tax cost. But once withdrawals are taken, or once the deadline approaches, those opportunities shrink quickly. Next, why estate planning doesn't end at inheritance. This is also why inherited IRAs should be part of broader estate conversations. How assets are passed down matters, but how they're received matters just as much. Without coordination, heirs inherit tax problems, not just assets. Families lose flexibility, value quietly erodes. This is where working with a financial professional can make a meaningful difference. Next, a better way to think about inherited IRAs. Instead of asking, how long can I wait to take this money? A better question is, how do I want this income to show up on my tax return over time? Controlled income versus forced income, planned taxes versus surprise taxes, flexibility versus compression. Inherited IRAs don't have to be a trap, but they require intention. The hidden tax trap is inherited IRAs isn't about complexity, it's about silence. Most people were never warned that the rules changed. They were never shown how timing affects taxes, and they were never told that waiting can sometimes make things worse. As a result, families do everything right and still lose more of an inheritance to taxes than necessary. Good outcomes don't come from guessing or default behavior. They come from understanding the rules early enough to act and coordinating inherited assets with the rest of your financial life. If you've inherited an IRA or expect to in the future and want to make sure your plan is working for you, not against you, let's talk. Inherited IRAs, taxes, Medicare premiums, and retirement income all interact. Looking at any one of them in isolation is where costly mistakes usually happen. When you book a free consultation through the link in the description below, I'll walk you through how these pieces fit together in your specific situation so you can understand your options before the rules force your hand. There's no pressure, there's no obligation, just a clear professional conversation designed to help you protect more of what your family worked hard to build. Thanks for watching, and if you found this helpful, I'll see you in the next video.